Welcome to the third lesson in my 5-part course or Intro to Bitcoin. Today, in this lesson, I want to talk about what Bitcoin can do for you. Bitcoin, as we talked about in the other lessons, is a form of money, right? It's an investment that can help you in many ways. And we're going to cover 3 ways today how Bitcoin can help you, all right, and what it can do for you. First and foremost, I think it's understand that Bitcoin is a way to generate wealth, all right? Bitcoin is a scarce resource, maybe even the scarcest resource that we have on the planet. 92% of the supply of Bitcoin has already been created. So only 8% more of the total supply will be created, and that's gonna be created very slowly over the next 120 years or so. In terms of scarcity, less than 1 out of every 100 Americans owns Bitcoin currently today. It's owned by a small amount of businesses, organizations, cities, states, and countries as well. But right now we are at the very early stages of Bitcoin still. The supply, like I mentioned, will barely grow over the next 120 years, but the changes in the price of Bitcoin are going to change drastically over the next 40 years. All right, they're going to skyrocket compared to what they are today. Right now is an unbelievably good time to buy Bitcoin. Putting a small amount of your total current investments or starting to invest now in buying Bitcoin will generate amazing returns for you. Generating wealth with Bitcoin is very simple. It's very easy to do. It's easy to get started. A kid could do it. It is that simple. Another one of the most important things about Bitcoin that I want to talk about today, why you want to use it, is because it protects against inflation. Now, the way our monetary systems are set up in the world today, they are what's called fiat. And essentially it means that they aren't based on anything in particular's value. 100 years ago, most currencies were across the world, like the dollar, the pound, other currencies from across the world were based on the value of gold, silver, or other precious metals. That is no longer the case. Today, the currencies that we use, like the US dollar, are backed by a promise that the government will essentially print more dollars, which if you think about it, that's kind of crazy that you're going to print. If your dollar loses its value, we're going to print more to cover that value. But that is the system. That is the way money is used right now. And each year they are trying to increase the supply of that money slowly but steadily to drive what they believe is, this is central banks, by the way, what they believe is good for our economy and causes people to spend instead of saving, which this can be good for the economy, but for us as individuals, as individual persons, not saving and not investing is very bad for our future. So Bitcoin protects against this inflation. It gives us a very safe and secure place that we can put our wealth. We can transfer it from dollars, other currencies, other assets into Bitcoin, where it can stay safe and secure. It grows in wealth, and because it is so scarce, there's so little supply and so little of it is being created, it holds its value extremely well, and it increases its value. And right now, like I said, less than 1 out of every 100 Americans is using Bitcoin, which means the demand for it right now is very, very low. The supply is low and the demand is low. That demand is going to increase exponentially over the next 40 years. So starting right now would be a great time, an unbelievable time to start buying your first Bitcoin. The next thing that Bitcoin does for you is it diversifies your investments. And why is that? What is that? Why is that important? Diversify means that you don't hold all your wealth in one type of asset. So let's say you've been investing and you put all your money into stocks, right? And then the stock market crashes. Your wealth has been temporarily wiped out. It may recover, but for the time being, if you're needing your wealth to live off of it, it's going to be very difficult because you're going to be using a very large percentage of your wealth to live off of because the value of it is so low right now. Let's say that you need $100,000 a year to live off of, and you had a stock portfolio that was worth $1 million, and then it dropped down by half to $500,000. Now you've gone from having 10 years of living supply to only having 5. So you can see how having just one type of investment can really provide some harm to you as you're trying to live off your investments down the road. Bitcoin is another alternative that you can use to spread that risk across multiple assets and diversify yourself and protect yourself. One of the coolest things that we're starting to see with Bitcoin is most of the time when the market goes down, almost all the types of investments, asset types that you can invest go down in price also. So we'll have a market crash, stocks will go down, the price of bonds will go down. Sometimes even the price of gold goes down, real estate goes down. People start holding on to their money very tightly. They don't want to let it go. They're not putting money into these assets. And in some cases, they're pulling money out of the assets. So the overall demand for these assets is going down. And that was the case with Bitcoin during the first 13 years or so of its existence. And now we are starting to see the opposite. We're starting to see in periods where there's uncertainty and craziness and banks failing and markets performing poorly, we're starting to see Bitcoin going the opposite direction. So it is providing a great asset for us to use to diversify our portfolios, to make sure that our investments hold their value well, especially in the times that we need them the most. Bitcoin is the only asset right now that is moving this direction, the only asset class, whereas everything else is coming down in price and Bitcoin is increasing in price. So when you take Bitcoin and you mix it with these other assets, you're creating opportunities for you. You're creating a portfolio that's much more diverse that can help you get through the tough times that are going to be a part of every economy, every life cycle. We are going to have ups and downs. We're going to have bull markets. We're going to have bear markets. We're going to have times of great prosperity. We're going to have recessions and depressions. And we want to make sure that we're saving and investing our money, our wealth, into assets that will provide good diversification, that will protect us against inflation, and that will provide growth for us, that will continue to grow so that as we age, as we move down, as we want to start working less, we have an investment, a supply, a nest egg, funds that we can live off of that are well managed and easily managed so that we can live off them. And Bitcoin is an amazing tool for this. So that is what Bitcoin can do for you. Again, just a quick recap super quickly. Bitcoin can generate wealth for you and protect your wealth. Bitcoin can protect you against inflation, and Bitcoin can help you diversify your investments so that you have different uncorrelated investments, as Ray Dalio would say. He says an uncorrelated investment is something that when if the two investments are uncorrelated, if one is tanking, the other one will not be tanking and possibly be even growing. If they are correlated and one starts to tank, they both start to tank. Or if one goes up, they both start to go up. So diversification is looking for those uncorrelated investments, and Bitcoin is starting to prove itself to be a very good uncorrelated investment that we can use to diversify our portfolios and to help us along with those other two great aspects of Bitcoin to protect us against inflation and to generate wealth. And next time, that's that lesson for the day. Next time, we're going to talk about one of my favorite aspects of Bitcoin. And I love what Bitcoin does for me, but I love even more what Bitcoin is doing for people who've never had access to banking and to investing in the remotest parts of the world, and how they're now able to use Bitcoin to get involved, to protect their wealth, to grow wealth, and to improve their living, their lifestyle, and raise themselves out of poverty. And we'll talk about that in part 4 of the Intro to Bitcoin course.